guys, you're with me, Sammie, and
me, Frankie,
and we're going to be unboxing one of the new commander decks.
The Sworn to Darkness. The main commander here is Obnixilis. He was originally a planeswalker before he became a demon in the most recent. He was in the most recent set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, today we're going to be unboxing this, having a look at what's inside it, and generally talking you through the highlights.
Yes, guys, we're just going to start unboxing now.
If you do it from,
we do it from the bottom. See, I know how to get into things, right?
I also got the blue one, and I decided to open it from the top, and then realised I couldn't get the box out that way.
Ah, this is why you know things. I'm making a bit of a mess of it. It's fine.
Oh, there we go. There's Mr. Nilixis himself. Let's just get him out of there.
And it comes with this funky box to keep your deck in.
Yeah, oversized planeswalker. The foiling on this one isn't as good as the one on the blue one. I'm hoping the camera can pick that up. But it's always nice to have an oversized foil.
Dark foils tend to be a bit not as good as lighter coloured foils. So after we take out the commander deck box, we have the emblem on the top for
Obnixilis.
And it comes with this normal cards you get when you get a new set. Some nice artwork on, which tells you a little bit about the planeswalkers themselves.
And as we said earlier, Mr. Nixilus isn't a planeswalker anymore. He's now a demon because he decided to pick up the chain veil, but his loss, I guess, or profit, I'm not sure. So,
and
yeah,
of course,
the boxes themselves aren't bad because you can get the deck in there. If you take this insert out, you can get the deck in there sleeved if you put it sideways.
Get one of those.
Just a little bit more information.
Especially if you're a new player, it's got a quick reference guide for the rules, which is really good.
But yeah, so let's crack this open. Shrink wrap, my arch nemesis.
She's making a much better job than I did of the other packaging here.
So yeah, here we are. There's our emblem, and it comes with a few tokens as well, which I'm sure we will find out what they are for momentarily. Of course there's demons in there. Didn't expect demons in a mono black deck. Well, how many demons are there?
There's a really cool thing about these tokens as well, guys. If you don't know, these are the first tokens that Wizards have done which are double-sided.
Oh,
so
wow.
On the backs of all of the tokens, you have an extra token on the back. So from this horror, you have a zombie, and you have a demon with a zombie on the back too. You could
just have a whole army of zombies. Why not? I assume that's what this deck probably does. Neither of us have actually looked into this deck. We've kept it almost completely spoiler free, so it should be interesting going through it. So we are going to lay this out into sections, and we'll be back with you in a minute. Here we've got the 3 potential commanders for the Oath to Darkness commander set 2014. You have Drana, Calustria Bloodchief, Obnixilis of the Black Oath, and Kula Gissa. Drana concentrates on mainly making herself bigger. It's a route to take if you want to do just straight up commander damage. She saps toughness from other creatures and gives them to herself for X and 2 black mana. And she has flying, so she's nice and evasive.
And then you got Kula Gissa. She's all about you slapping down your big creatures and sacrificing them to make lots and lots of zombies. And this deck does have some graveyard recursion from it, so you can always just like bring your creature back that you sacrifice later and make more and more zombies.
And then in the middle we got Big Daddy Obnixilis. He does a bit of both. He's got a little bit of Extort as his +2. Each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way.
Yeah, and then he's got -2, which is put a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. You lose 2 life.
So yeah, he's got life gain, life loss, and creature generation. And then his ultimate's quite nasty. Use an emblem with 1 colourless, 1 black. Sacrifice a creature. You gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So yeah, you've got all. You can go through any route of Obnixilis. You can do it through life, through creatures, through card draw. And the best thing is, obviously, even if you're not running them as your commander, you can still have them in your deck.
Yes. So guys, now we've unwrapped everything. Here is the creatures from our commander deck. We're not going to go into in depth just as yet, but just to show you guys what's inside. So the first ones we have are creatures that buff other creatures. Like this guy up front who has tap 1 black. He gets +1/+1 to the end of turn, and he also has Undying. Then we have our guys which
these ones usually, most of them have Enter the Battlefield effects where they basically kill a thing or give it minus counters. What black does best.
Exactly.
And then on the third pile, we've got mainly Extorters, Life Gain, Life Loss. Good old Gary there, you'll recognise him from Fearos. Then moving on,
we have our token generations, including Gravy Train, which we all know is Grave Titan, which is one of the best ones in mono black for spitting out tokens.
And That Devotion.
That Devotion, yeah. We also have our next session, which we kind of made into a card draw / sack outlet with Disciple Bolus, which also sacks and draws you cards, and Phyrexian Gargantuan, which also draws you cards. Then we have our interesting pile of sort of new things. We have Vampire Hexmage, which is also great when you come up against other commander decks from this set and people are using the Planeswalkers, because you can kill their Planeswalker by sacking her and removing the counters from the permanent. And then we have all the demons.
A whole load of demons. As I said, didn't expect that in a black deck. We've got good old Bloodgift Demon. Lets you draw a card if you desire. Or I think I've actually managed to kill someone once by giving them a Bloodgift Demon draw, so that was quite funny. And then we move on to one I've personally not seen before.
That's the Abyssal Persecutor with Flying Trample, so straight up good anyway. A 4-drop for a 6/6. But you can't win the game, and opponents can't lose the game. So it's kind of a bit tempo-y. Like unless you want to, you get to a stage you build up a really good board, and then you can sack him, and then obviously win.
Yeah,
which is really good.
Yeah, you have to get your opponents down, and then use one of your sack outlets to get rid of him, most likely. This guy, Demon of Wailing Agonies, which I can't actually read downstairs, upside down, even that one even. And he's got the new mechanic for Command 2014. I think it's new for this set, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And he basically has Lieutenant. He gets a sweet buff as long as your commander is on the field. So you can see that throughout all the Commander 2014 sets.
Yeah, he also has this really cool ability that if he is he does trigger his Lieutenant ability. He also deals combat damage to when he deals combat damage to a player. That player has to sacrifice a creature, which is pretty relevant.
Yeah. And then we can see the classic black mechanic here, Morbid. If a thing dies, you get to kill a thing.
Yay!
Yay, black! And then moving on to Pestilence Demon. He's got he's got a damage effect. He's quite pricey, an 8-drop, but with a 7/6 body, it's not really anything to be complained at. And in a mono color commander deck, it's not really a problem.
That Devotion.
And then we got Overseer of the Damned, predictably, a flyer. Woo! When he enters the battlefield, you get to kill a thing.
Yay, black!
And I can't read that.
Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, put a 2/2 black zombie creature onto the battlefield tapped. So more token generation.
Excellent, more zombies for everyone.
Yeah.
And when I say everyone, I mean the black player.
Yes.
And then Zamfra Demon, who sees quite a lot of EDH play. He's all about sacking and life loss and all sorts of horrible stuff. So those are the creatures in the Black 2014 Commander deck, obviously in addition with Gissa and Drana as well, which you saw a minute ago. And we're going to move on to spells now.
So hi guys, these are the sorceries in the mono black deck. We're going to start with the card draw. So we've got Promise of Power, which is a little bit of like card draw plus token generation. Good old Sign in Blood, and we've got Read the Bones as well. Yeah. So it's good staples for the new deck.
The most notable thing with card draw as black is you will pay life for it. When you play a black commander deck, life will be a resource. So then we're moving on to the Graveyard Recursion. We've got 2 spells here. I think one of the other ones somewhere has got a little bit more in it. We'll probably find that in a minute. But those are the 2 main ones in here.
Yeah, we also have a couple of cards here. So we've got Siphon Mind. So each other player discards a card and you draw a card for each card discarded this way. So it's kind of like discard and draw for you. And then we've got Infernal Offering, which is choose an opponent. You and that player each sacrifice a creature. Each player sacrificed a creature this way, draws 2 cards, and then choose an opponent, return a creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield, and then that player returns a creature card from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. So it plays with politics a little bit, which is quite cool.
Yeah, and then this whole bottom row is largely mass removal. Some of the cards have other effects, but as you can see, another one of the classic black mechanics is giving cards minus counters rather than straight up destroying them, which is quite good. It quite often makes spells cheaper to cast, relies on your mana base, but it does mean it sometimes won't kill everything. And obviously the most notable change here in one of the reprints is Profane Command on the end has been reformatted, so it's got bullet points in it. Which a member of Midnight Magic very much liked.
Yes, it does actually make it slightly easier to read. So
yes, definitely. Unfortunately, the commands are a little bit wordy.
Okay, and that's it.
Yeah, we'll move on to the instants now. Okay, we're back with the instants. We decided to put the enchantment in this shot because there is only one enchantment in the whole deck. It's Bad Moon. Straight up, just a good enchantment for 2 mana. Everything you control basically gets +1/+1.
Which is pretty cool. Moving on to these ones, we just have sort of 2 tempo cards here. So Wake the Dead, which is an instant. You can only cast it during combat on an opponent's turn. Return X target cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice those creatures at the beginning of the next step. So it's just basically about blocking and keeping yourself alive. And of course, sudden spoiling with our favourite mechanical, one of mine, is Split Second. So no one can respond to it, which is awesome.
Yeah. And then we move on to, as I said earlier, when you want to draw cards or mainly do most things in black, you will be using life as a resource, and that's what Skeletal Scrying is all about. It's an X spell, draw a card, lose life.
Yep, and then we have Spoils of Blood, which is put an XX black horror creature token onto the battlefield, where X is the number of creatures that died this turn, so just like making a big creature after a board wipe is awesome.
Yeah, it's also very relevant because this deck seems mainly to rotate around sacrificing.
And then we have our 4 spells at the front here, which is just all about what black is best at doing.
Killing things.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got the classic Tragic Slip, one of my favourite cards of possibly all time. 1 black mana, straight value.
We have Annihilate as well, which is just straight up good. Destroy a target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated, and you get to draw off it as well.
Yeah. Malicious Affliction, like Tragic Slip, also has the classic black mechanic Morbid. When you cast it, I can't read this upside down.
Basically, when you cast it, it gets like a kind of a copy, and you can destroy 2 things rather than 1 thing.
Oh, well, that's brilliant.
But it's non-black, specifically.
So if a thing dies that turn, you cast this, you could kill 2 things for 2 mana.
So, hi guys, we're talking now about the artifacts. So we've got black specific mana rocks, yay! These 2 help you, well, this one here cheapens your black spells by 1 colourless mana, which is awesome. And you got Charcoal Diamond, which just taps for black mana, yay, mana rocks!
And then below them you've got the ordinary mana generators, mana rocks. An interesting one I didn't expect to see in here was Burnished Heart, which is a card I personally rate, but there's other things they could have put in. For instance, the blue deck has Fran Dynamo, which is pretty sweet, but we can see Soul Ring, classic commander staple, and you've got a couple of other ones that add 2 mana, add one of your commander's colour, so in this case black. And yeah, and then another straight up 1 colourless, and you can sack it to draw a card. So it's like a Cluestone?
Yes.
So it's like a colourless Cluestone.
Okay, and we've also got a couple of pieces of equipment in here. So there's, to start with, the Swiftfoot Boots, which is just a straight up good one for any commander deck. Protects your commander with it, give it hexproof, give it haste, swing in for that extra damage. It's all good. And we have an Unstable Obelisk, which is just a normal artifact. 3 mana. You can use it to just add 1 colourless to your mana pool whenever you want, or his other really cool ability is what black loves best, destroying things, for 7 mana.
And then the final artifact we have in this pile is Lash Reeve, which is a truly disgusting card. Those of you who are familiar with living weapons will know that it generates a 0/0 germ when it comes to the battlefield, and you can equip the Lash Reeve to this gem for either 2 black mana or 4 life. That's Phyrexian mana, and essentially the 0/0 or whatever you attach it to will have +1/+1 for every swamp you control, which seems pretty strong in a mono-coloured deck. We've picked out our five favourite cards from this deck. I'm going to start off with the Butcher of Malakir. He's basically Grave Pact, or is it Dictate of Erebos?
Yes.
Dictate of Erebos on a creature. And I was surprised I didn't put either of those cards in this deck, because you can set yourself horrible sacrifice trains, as most people who play any form of EDH will know. And yeah, it usually ends in a lot of things dying. So I personally use him in one of my commander decks, and that's why he's in my top 5.
One of my top 5 cards is Malicious Affliction. It's the double black instant kill spell with Morbid. So when you cast it after a creature has died, so if someone else removes something or some form of a circumstantial mass removal has happened, if a creature died this turn, you may copy Malicious Affliction and choose a new target for the copy. So you basically get to kill 2 things for 2 mana. It does specifically say target non-black creature, but it's still really good card.
Yeah. And the third card we picked out is a suitably crazy one that I liked, a creature called Raving Dead. 4 colourless, 1 black. He's a 2/6 with Death Touch, and at the beginning of your turn you have to pick an opponent at random, and the creature has to swing at that opponent. The only thing is that if this creature does combat damage, that player loses half his or her life rounded down, which seems like a pretty big threat to me.
Yeah. The creature that I chose for number 4 is Magnus of the Coffers. I use Cable Coffers in my EDH deck as it, and this guy is sick for what he does. He's a 5-drop, 4 colourless, 1 black for a 4/4. He's tap 2 mana and then tap him, and you add 1 black mana to your mana pool for each swamp you control. So even if you've only got 6 swamps out, you can tap 2 to make 6 swamps, so you actually technically have 10 mana out, which is amazing.
Yeah. And finally, for our favourite card in this whole deck, you might think it would be the Planeswalker, but no, the most broken card in mono black right now,
Gary.